I couldn't see anything outside the carriage, but from the sound I could tell that it was still raining. The sound helped me calm a bit, as the fair maiden asked me if I was a spy from another kingdom. I told her that I didn't know what she was talking about. She said that I'd be charged for trespassing unless I came up with a convincing defense. At that point, I was beginning to worry. She didn't look like she was bluffing, so I began my story from when I woke up in the meadows yesterday with all the other people just lying there. I was the first to wake up, I think, but I wasn't too sure. There was a little girl already playing a kite, but then she disappeared when I was looking the other way. My legs were hurt then, so I didn't try hard to find her. I waited a while for the unconscious people lying around to get up, but none of them did. I wasn't a doctor, so I couldn't do much about their condition. When I got hungry, after waiting for so long without a single person to wake up, I forced myself to get up and find some food. I went to the woods to pick up the fruits of the trees and then had a drink from the river. My legs were miraculously cured from any injury after that. Since I was lost, I decided to just follow the river, and then after some time walking, that was when I met the monk, who I later followed to the cabin that I met her. A short laugh escaped from the fair maiden when I finished. She didn't interrupt me once as I told my story, but said that my story was silly when I ended it. She asked me how she could possibly believe my story. She accuses me of being a spy just because I'm interested in the maps of the area I'm spawned into right now. I'm too suspicious to be kept alive, she says, but I can prove my innocence through trial by combat when you get to the king's court. I just sat down, told her I just wanted to go home. I wasn't a spy. She asked me where I was from, and when I told her, she just shook her head and said that the place I've lived in hadn't existed in a long time. Then the fair maiden burst out laughing when she saw my eyes getting red, and then apologized. She's just messing around. Now, she was surprised that I hadn't hit her, since a lot of other people who she did this to did much worse. I asked her, did she went through all of these elaborate plots just to get me to beat her up? She just shook her head while telling me that she wasn't answering that. I took that as an invitation for a retaliation, in which I gave a light strike to the knee, which jolted her. She guesses that she deserved that, and thus the rain stops. The fair maiden orders the carriage to a halt and walks off. I follow her lead, though I had no clue as to why. We were now at the coastline. I had so many questions to ask, but it was her that's getting all the answers. She started another dubious line of questioning, with why I thought I was here. I've been thinking about it, but I didn't want to articulate it before, but I told her about my conscious theory. I couldn't handle the guilt of something I'd done back where I was from. Never got caught, but I could always admit it. Maybe this place is a form of punishment for me, for the things that I've done. I can't deny what I did was wrong. Been looking at the waves as I answered her, and when I finished, this time she was just quiet. She had a concerned look on her face, something which she didn't have when the monk died. If my reason for being here was that, then does she think she was here for the same reason as well? Of course, my questions are ignored, and she continues her interrogation of me with, why was I distrustful of her? If she hadn't had someone throw me into a cave, maybe I could trust her a bit more. She was perplexed and asked whether I seriously believed that she had done so, before beginning her view, where I had gone in there through my own volition to find the camera I was holding. I didn't want to argue with her, just wanted some answers. She thinks that I'm unwell. She proceeds with another question. Did I know how to swim? I wasn't sure if that was what she really asked, but before I could ask her to repeat the question, she pushed me into the waters. She wasn't expecting it, but I dragged her down with me as we plunged to our impending doom. As before falling, I was reminded of a bus ride I've had. Was this the same route the bus had fallen from? I was already prepared to let this be my last thought when the fair maiden conjured up an umbrella out of thin air. She reaches out her hand, but I could grasp it, but managed to get a hold of her feet. She said she was sorry for pushing me as we slowly descended down. I had to hand it to her. Even though she tries to kill me, she has the decency to apologize. She says that she thinks that what I said about why we were here was true. I wasn't expecting her to answer my previous question, and I wish she hadn't. From her action, I could tell her guilt was murdering people. It'd be argued that if I had fallen to my death just now, it wasn't her who had killed me, but gravity instead. I say fair point. She was probably thinking that way too, though I'm not really a killer, so you can't really represent the mind of someone like so. And that I think I'll continue at a later time.